Let's start with Dear Leader Porn Star Humper, the convicted felon, the adjudicated rapist, and the suspected pedophile who isn't in the Epstein files, and apparently he is the Epstein files. Dear Leader Porn Star Humper has just seized the entire American defense industry. Like I said before, I very unfortunately keep a tab open to his True Social page, so you don't have to. Let me read you this post. I'm going to read this without commentary because it's so fucking crazy. It's so communist. It's so it's the end of the world and we know it, and I feel fine. No, I don't. Okay. Donald J. Trump this morning posted this, and I'm going to read this verbatim, then I'll put some commentary down afterwards. Donald J. Trump, at Real Donald Trump, True Social. All United States defense contractors and the defense industry as a whole, beware, while we make the best military equipment in the world, no country is even close. Defense contractors are currently issuing massive dividends to their shareholders and massive stock buybacks at the expense and the detriment of investing plants and equipment. This situation is no longer allowed or tolerated. Also, executive pay packages in the defense industry are exorbitant and unjustified given how slowly these companies are delivering vital equipment to our military. And our allies' salaries, stock options, and every other form of compensation is far too high for these executives. Defense companies are not producing our great military equipment rapidly enough once produced, not maintaining it properly or quickly. From this moment forward, these executives will build new and modern production plants, both for delivering and maintaining this important equipment and for building the latest models of our future military equipment. Until they do so, no executive shall be allowed to make in excess of $5 million, which, as high as it sounds, is a mere fraction of what they're making now. Additionally, the maintenance and repair of equipment once sold is far too slow. It must be immediately enhanced. As president, I am demanding that maintenance be spot on time. Therefore, I will not permit dividends or stock buybacks for defense companies until such time these problems are rectified. Likewise, salary and executive compensation. Military equipment is not being made fast enough. It must be built now with the dividend stock buybacks and the overcompensation of executives rather than borrowing from financial institutes or getting the money from your government. Longer term, this is good for both the executives and the shareholders, and it will be great for our country. Thank you for the attention on this matter. Make America great again. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. To the death of America as we know it. Toast. Dear Leader Porn Star Humper has just seized the defense industry for his own personal interests. Just the way he has seized Venezuelan oil for his own personal interests. Venezuela is going to ship him 50 billion barrels of light sweet crude. Hey, Venezuela, where'd you steal it? That's not your oil. You're heavy, extra heavy butamin. You're not light sweet like Odessa, Texas. So where the fuck did you steal that 50 billion barrels of oil? Where the fuck is it coming from? So he seized Venezuela for his own personal gain. Now he's seizing the defense companies, the corporations, the contractors. Remember when I told you last live session, you need a kernel of truth, or you just sound like a tinfoil hat wearer. Are executives in defense corporations overcompensated? Yes, but they're also overcompensated in tech, overcompensated in banking. Defense industries overcompensation of executives no different from any other industry under corporate socialism. Under corporate socialism, read not capitalism. We haven't had capitalism since 1981. So stop bitching with your anti-capitalist memes. We're a corporate socialist society, and the commies are soon to take over. Because how do I read this and not feel like, wow, this is Soviet Union? The president is literally going to dictate how their businesses are run. He's not going to contract with those vendors, those corporations that do work for the government. He's literally going to run those companies and determine what they do and what they get paid. He just named the defense industry as his own enemy, who's undermining the United States of America. How does this fit in with the jingoism? The military is untouchable. The military budget is untouchable. But who's the enemy of the state tonight? Defense contractors. Lockheed Martin is now the enemy of the state. Boeing, Raytheon, General Dynamics. Dear leader has just assigned the defense contractors the status of the problem with the military. It's the defense contractors do exactly what Congress lets them to do. Exactly what the Department of Defense lets them do. Okay, you could have tightened up spending in Congress. You could have made the regulations in the manufacturing and purchasing rules in the DoD much stricter. Do you do that? No. What happens? I seized Venezuela and now I run Venezuela. I'm seizing the defense industry in America. I'm now running the defense industry in America. That's some communist horseshit right there. Now, is there problems with the defense contractors? Hell yes! Even Eisenhower talked about that last time. Even Eisenhower pointed out to you, don't let the military-industrial complex from World War II overrule the society. Okay, and they did. We're paying for literal ships that can't fight. They can't even sail. When we were attacking the coastline, literal, that means coastline. Okay, not literal like meaning specifically, literal like shoreline, the one with the OL. Okay. We hid the literal ships of the Navy, the brand new little ships that cost us hundreds of millions of dollars apiece. We let them sit in San Diego to hide them because we didn't want them facing Libyan militia forces because that $1 billion in spending didn't work. F-22, F-35s cost us 3 times as much as originally projected. Stock buybacks. He's bitching about stock buybacks. When Democrats and independents said, hey, you shouldn't let the companies buy back their own stocks, we got screamed at. You don't understand how to run a company. Stock buybacks have nothing to do with running a company. They're just about manipulating the stock price. Okay. Is the defense industry the only ones manipulating their stock price through stock buybacks? No, every single tech company is doing it right now. Every single tech company who's now at beck and call to the nationalist regime. Every tech CEO is in the pocket of the administration right now. Every single tech company who's in the pocket of this administration is doing a stock buyback right now. But he's going to ban only the defense industry from doing stock buybacks. Stock buybacks should be illegal across the board. They're not governance of a corporation. They're fucking illegal, criminal, frauding, fucking manipulation of stock prices. It's manipulating the equity price. But only the defense contractors. See, this is his grievance-based psychosis. He can't build a policy. All he has is animus and grievance and bitching and moaning and whining. He has a grievance today about the military. Who put this in his head? Who fucking knows? But to tell me that a president can order a company not to pay dividends, not to pay executive salary beyond a limit, and then not do stock buybacks, and it's only a handful of companies that can't do it. Okay? Stalin is here, you stupid shits. Dear leader porn star Humper is now the post-Stalin communist. Just like Putin and Orban. That's who he's copying. Because Putin and Orban aren't actual communists, they're gangster communists. They don't fight for the motherland. They don't fight for a kingdom or a set of lands. They fight for their own corruption using state power. That's what Dear Leader Pornstar Humper just did today. And I'm being explicit, again, not hyperbolic. He has seized the entire defense industry in the United States of America, and he's about to put it in his pocket, just like he put in that 50 million barrels of oil, of Venezuelan oil, by the way, which is sanctioned. It would be illegal for us to receive it under the current regulations. So what did they announce this morning? Oh, if they're going to give it to me and I get to create a slush fund of $50 billion, 50 million barrels of oil at $65 a barrel. If I can create a slush fund like Haldeman's safe during Watergate, but that was only $2.5 million. That was in the slush fund safe at Watergate. Okay, we're talking billions. Billions of dollars he is trying to appropriate and direct toward himself. Now, even the morons who voted for this guy, or the evil ideologues who voted for these guys, because I know there's both, there are the true believers, then there are the fucking ruse. Okay, the true believers is about 25% of the total. But 75% of them are barely smart enough to tie their own fucking shoes. When you voted for this motherfucker, did you vote for him to start seizing not a company, but an entire industry? Is that what you voted for? Because I know you voted for the racism. I know you voted for the xenophobia because, like, oh man, fuck those people. If I'm getting screwed, screw the other people. Because that's all the first Trump election was about. A bunch of voters looking at both political parties who haven't served them since the early 1970s. Again, I wrote a whole freaking essay on this. American Dream was assassinated in 1978. We abandoned capitalism in 1981. Now, all you right-wing influencers, all you military bros who love lethality, bro, lethality, bro. Don't let's fucking shit. I just got off a video call with my most excellent Canadian friend, graduate of Sandhurst, like West Point of Canada, was an officer in the Canadian Army. He's fucking super smart. He's one of the best men I know in my life. Um, and I'm like, how many fucking senior officers or how many special operators have you met that talk like these idiots? Like talk like Hegseth. I've met at least a couple hundred Green Berets and special operators and military intelligence guys who've literally been in the shit. They don't talk like this. Okay. One of our family friends is a colonel in the Green Berets, 30 years in the Army, 25, 26 years in the Green Berets, had like 32 deployments in the global war on terror. He doesn't talk like this, these idiots. When I talk to my friend in Canada, he's an officer, intelligence guy. He doesn't talk like this. My father-in-law, the command sergeant major, airborne ranger, Green Beret, on the teams for 20, 22, 23 years. He doesn't talk like this. Guy I knew from my early days in law enforcement, worked in a nearby city, ex-Delta Force guy. Okay. His name was Rowdy. Rowdy was the most stoic motherfucker I've ever met in my life. Nothing bothered that guy. Meteors could be hitting the earth. He goes, okay, what do we need to do? Okay, everybody take a breath. Let's move forward. I've never met a special operator. I've never met a CID agent. I've never met an MI agent who acts like a fucking 12-year-old on a playground. And that's exactly what Hegseth, Trump, even this dickhead they brought out of the retirement, Kane. I don't know who you're communicating to. The fat fuck in Mississippi who weighs 316 pounds and he's dressed in all BDUs. He's got a shotgun and he's got a bulletproof vest, except he's so fat, the bulletproof vest doesn't even cover half his body. The Gravy SEALs, is that who you're talking to? Meal Team 6? Because I've never met a general officer who spoke like this, or a colonel, or a CID agent of any rank. In the CID, you could be enlisted, you could be warrant officer, you can be commissioned officer, all the way up to our general, the brigadier. Never heard anybody talk like this. Lethality, bro! We know we're lethal. Jesus Christ, do you understand the weapons you give me access to? I know I'm lethal. In my job, I could go to the arms room and check out anything I wanted. Like, ask somebody you know who was in the military. Were they allowed to go to the arms room, check out 4 M16A2s that are capable of 3-round bursts and fully automatic and 10,000 rounds of ammunition for training without any questions? Hey, what's up, Sergeant? Yeah, I'm doing some training. I need some guns and I need a bunch of ammo. How much you want? 4 and 10K. You got to sign for that. Oh, okay. There you go. When are they coming back? Oh, I'll have the guns back tonight, but you won't. We're burning through all the ammo. Lethality, bro. For the president to come down without any authorization from Congress, any support from the Department of Commerce, the FTC, the Federal Reserve, the DOD, it's just like, I am now in charge of the defense industry. I now set your salaries, set the production schedules, da 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 da. And by the way, I guarantee you, DO Department Arbor does not understand how a single delivery works in the DOD. Not a one. Not a big project like the F-22s, not a little project like making more M16s or what are they today? A4s. M4s, sorry. He doesn't know how shit is made. He doesn't know how shit is delivered. And I bet you doesn't know that the Army ammunition plant actually feeds more ammunition to the civilian market inside the United States than it does to our allies. So we supply the ammo that's used to shoot up our schools, our nightclubs, our libraries, uh, Sandy Hook, Pulse nightclub, of Uvalde. Yeah, that's defense leakage. Big part of it is defense leakage. Yeah. Overcompensation of executives. Every CEO is in the country is overcompensated. They proved it because they're not standing up to this cunt. You have a communist cunt in charge of the country who's literally trying to seize every authority from every branch of government and take over civilian industries. But it's only the defense contractor CEOs that are overcompensated. Elon Musk is overcompensated. That's not my opinion. That's a Delaware judge. If Mark Zuckerberg and his wife can park money in a fake charity and reap the rewards of it, they're overcompensated. If none of the CEOs in the tech industry will do anything but get on their knees and lick dear leader porn star Humper's balls, they're overcompensated. In fact, the only CEO and the only executive team I can imagine that's not overcompensated, Berkshire Hathaway, Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett. You know, like 40 years ago, their Class A stock was worth like $24. Warren Buffett just retired. Charlie Munger died a couple years ago. I love them both. The last two real capitalists in our society. Okay. Warren Buffett retired, and the day he retired, the Class A stocks for Berkshire Hathaway was at $750,000 a share. $24 to $750,000 a share. And if you work for Berkshire Hathaway, I'm trying to get a job there. I have a friend there. Got your six nutball, endveterandebt.org. I will check that out, sir. I will check that out. Yeah. The fact that veterans are in debt and a lot of them are coming back from the global war with mental problems and injuries and other problems and social re-engagement problems. Um, it was hard. Because you posted that, I'm gonna tell you, I don't wear my dog tag still as a flex. I don't wear it's to remind me I made it out okay. Yeah, I have post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety disorder, and I suffer from severe depression at times. But I have a great wife. I have a great family. My in-laws are totally supportive. I have a circle of awesome friends, and I'm okay. But when the global war on terror was going on, and the people in my zip codes, everywhere I fucking went, somebody was in trauma, somebody was in depressed, somebody was at their wits' end because their boyfriend, their husband, whomever came back from Afghanistan, Syria, Djibouti, Iraq, wherever the fuck we were, and they're doing stupid shit. Like dental office. I'm a teeth grinder, so I have dental problems as I get older. So I got to go to the dentist a lot. So I was at the dentist's office, and the dental tech who's at the reception, she goes, "Oh," because I was wearing my hat. She goes, "Oh, you're a veteran." I go, "Yeah, yeah. I was in Cold War, MPs, drug war on two continents. You know, cop in the army, cop afterward. You know, whole thing." And she starts telling me a story about about her boyfriend. She's his girlfriend, and he just got back from Iraq, and he's a Marine, Marine Raider, I think he was. And he goes, all he does now is drink, smoke meth, and drive his ninja motorcycle at 140 miles an hour up and down the highways. He's trying to regain the adrenaline of combat, and it's tearing both him and her apart. And now I'm standing at the dentist, and the dental receptionist is crying and standing up because she needs a hug. That's why I'm involved with the veterans organization. which was cool. I got to meet Chris Beck, the Navy SEAL, and a bunch of other cool Marines and Air Force pilots and stuff. That was all cool. We helped build a homeless shelter, not a homeless shelter, but a homeless apartment building, a permanent housing for veterans in San Francisco. Um, but yeah, I wear these as a reminder that I had a rough time, sure, but I know a lot of my brothers and sisters did not. Because I look back at my 6.5 years in the army, I had a fucking blast, man. Dangerous AF. Some of the shitbirds we were after, holy shit. But to sit there and attack the defense industry, but not address the fact that both dear leaders administration and most of the far right in Congress are completely okay with eliminating the Veterans Administration and ending medical and psychological care, rehab care. Yeah, substance abuse is a real problem in the military and the paramilitary for sure. That's all going to go. They're all okay with that going away. But instead of like doing the rulemaking, I've talked about this a bunch of times. I'm going to say it again. Post Nixon, we create a law called the Administration Procedures Act. It's a it's a law, it's a statute that literally governs rulemaking in this country for the federal government. Is this fucking lunatic fucking True Social Post rulemaking? Not under the law. No. And that's what district court judges in the federal government keep telling the administration. You're not rulemaking. You're literally exposing your animus, your grievance, and your whims. You're throwing policy out so you can throw out an angry whim and decide you're going to just bulldoze over the federal government and the American people. Now, I'm not going to defend the defense industry per se, because yeah, there's been cost overruns. There was the $900 hammer in the 1980s. There was the $7,000 toilet on the airplane with the $7,000 toilet seat. Yeah, they've abused the system pretty bad. But you don't fix that with stupid fucking communist proclamations. You fix that via rulemaking. You fix that by being able to get the Department of Defense and their contractors to be able to pass a fucking audit, which they haven't been able to do in 40 years. Please write me at that. Let me copy out that address. I'm taking notes, sir. I will reach out from my NutBallCop address, and I will get back to you for certain. If it involves keeping my brother and sisters in arms out of debt. By the way, it shouldn't. I'm not dissing anybody here. I'm just saying we should be concerned about Americans at large not being caught up in stupid debt. Okay, student loans are bullshit. I wrote a whole essay about that. Usury, the drug of a nation. Please go back and read that essay. Okay, student loans are bullshit. The Pell Grant system worked. Okay, under the GI Bill, for every dollar we spend on the GI Bill, we get $7.50 back in the economy. The GI Bill created NASA. Okay, so we shouldn't want debt on any American, but it's absolutely unbelievable we do it either monetarily or service wise. Because when you don't give them the benefits of the VA, that's another debt. That means they got to go out and get the care somewhere else. That's wrong. We have $1.5 trillion in credit cards right now. We have $1.6 trillion in student loans right now. Municipal debt has never been higher. It's never been higher per capita. The national debt has never been higher. It's never been higher per capita. Nobody should be in debt like this. The debt being the monetary engine of a society is got to be one of the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. But yes, sir, I will reach out to you. So I guess this horse shit, like I would really love to know where the fuck he got this idea. Because you're okay, and we had been okay, including Trump's whole first term of 4 years. We were completely okay, no problem whatsoever for the defense industry making millions upon millions of dollars an hour. Now they're public enemy number one. And remember, this comes on the heels of him threatening Chevron and the rest of the American oil companies that they must go back to Venezuela. This is why I'm not using the word communism lightly or facetiously. Communist regimes determine the economy and determine who works and who doesn't work, yada, yada, yada. That's what this post is about. And not defending the defense industry whatsoever, but when the military, whether it's the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, it doesn't matter. When the military gives these contractors requirements, they're often very nebulous and they're very high-end fantasy, sci-fi future asks of the defense industry. And articles have been written about this. Like, why are you asking me to fund something that would take 90 times the funding to create this Star Trek technology and make it happen? We don't have the power of a 1950s or a 1960s dollar anymore. Why could we spend so much money with General Electric in the 1950s and 1960s building nuclear weapons? Because it really didn't matter how much we spent with General Electric. We could afford it. The dollar was strong. We still had silver and gold certificates. The dollar was still backed by something real. Even though we were building nuclear weapons and building B-52s and submarines like they're going out of style, we actually, again, my essay, I documented this with data and graphs and charts. From 1955 to 1970, it became cheaper to become a member of the middle class and the upper middle class, the UMC, member of the UMC, pop singer. Live Bullet, one of the best live albums of all time. 1955 to 1970, even though we were spending like cray, we were fighting Korea, we were deciding to go into Vietnam, we still ran a capitalist society that actually made things cheaper year by year. Now we're building things we can't even afford. Is Trump really trying to control the cost? Because you think the executive compensation, even though, yes, he's right, they're overpaid, they're overcompensated. But say you take a CEO's salary from whatever it is, 18, 22, $24 million a year, and you push it back to $5 million. You save $20 million across 5 companies. You saved $100 million. Okay. That doesn't even pay for a weapon system. A single unit in a weapon system. Won't pay for a new sub, won't pay for a new F-22 or F-35 through its lifetime. He thinks this is what the ballooning military cost is. Because He doesn't understand numbers. He doesn't understand math. He has no prayer of understanding matrix algebra or calculus. None. Zero. Zero. Nada. Nada. Incapable. If he thinks this shit will solve the military budgeting problem, he's more of a fucking idiot than I've ever thought. A Los Angeles class boomer is like $2.5 billion without cost overruns. Like, seriously, where in the fuck do you think you are going with this? Yeah, if he saves $100 million by curtailing CEOs in the top 5 defense contractors, he saves exactly one F-35. Maths and aggregation is not this guy's strong suit. I can tell you that as a data engineer. Not his strong suit. Oh my God, I'm going to punish the defense industry so I can save one plane's costs. I'm a war hero. Oh, get me a sky blue military jacket like Idi Amin and put a bunch of medals on it. Because you know that's coming. This fucking asshole is going to walk out to the fucking podium one day dressed in a fucking sky blue military form with epaulets, lanyards, medals down to his fucking kneecaps like he's a North Korean general. That shit is coming. Except he doesn't understand a single fucking moment of the math. How do you save money in the defense industry while you're invading half of the hemisphere? Venezuela. Cuba is next couple of weeks. Greenland, Panama, Mexico, Colombia, then Canada. But I'm going to save one F-35 of cost before I get a hemispheric war going. I'm your hero. Ah. Oh, do the happy dance. Oh. It's like I'm in this. My favorite genre of movies is dystopia. I love a good dystopian film. Oh my God, they're my favorite. My, that's one thing my wife thinks I'm a little weird about, even though I'm a total weirdo about a bunch of other things. Yeah. Doctor Strangelove or How I Stopped Worrying and Learned to Love the Bomb. That's my favorite movie of all time. Peter Sellers, George C. Scott. Yeah. Um, Blazing Saddles, the cowboy, um, drawing a blank. He's the one that rode he was the bad guy in Blazing Saddles. What the fuck? Oh my God, I'm totally a blank. The thing is, he's actually a cowboy. Slim Pickens. When you see Slim Pickens in Blazing Saddles or Slim Pickens in Doctor Strangelove, that is Slim Pickens. He was actually a cowboy. Yeah, I love dystopian films. And now I think I'm living through one. Doctor Strangelove, Terry Gilliam's Brazil, OG, Dystopia, Metropolis. So many good ones. The psychological mental health thing and problem I'm having right now is I actually feel like I'm living through one of the movies that were supposed to be the example of what not to fucking do. The part of the true social post that bugs me the most is this phrase: rather than borrowing from financial institutions, we are $37 trillion in debt. $12.6 trillion of it comes just from dear leader's first term in the first year of his second term. 1/3 of all American debt all time comes from just 5 years of Trump. Rather than borrowing from financial institutions. What the fucking holy hell? And oh, by the way, I'm wearing my Scorpions Blackout t-shirt. Excellent German metal band. I totally got into a bunch of German metal when I lived in Germany, except Doro Pesch, the Scorpions. Great fucking music scene in Europe. I still love European metal. In fact, half of what I listen to today is European metal, like Ginger from Ukraine, Within Temptation from Holland, uh, Epica from Sweden, Arch Enemy. I mean, I love a bunch of Christine Scabia from Italy, from Rome. Uh, Always love that. Like watching this shit go down is like watching the other side of the Iron Curtain suddenly jump the fucking fence, and it's now our shit we have to deal with. And all I can keep on thinking is like, why the fuck is this happening? And I've told you this before, but like, oh my god, I'm gonna. Is he blaming the defense industry because the southern border wall was never built? Because he thinks his southern border wall means something? It doesn't. It doesn't. MI and Green Berets penetrated the Berlin Wall and the Iron Curtain Wall all the way down to Czechoslovakia. They did it as regular order. Like I'd be out at one of my normal hangouts, right, in West Germany, and I'm like, where's so and so? He's busy. Well, he's an MI, so busy. I know what here. I know where he is. We'll wait till he gets back. Yeah, we used to infiltrate those countries all the time. Not us. We were police, so we didn't do that shit. We were doing law enforcement in West Germany. But yeah, the Green Berets and MI, yeah, constantly we infiltrated and went through the borders, the armored borders. And by the way, the fence he wants to build, the southern border, that's nothing like the border of Czechoslovakia back in the day. So he didn't get his southern border wall built, so now he's going to blame the defense industry and make them the guilty party. Ah, who knows? Because there's no answers. Like I was just talking to my Canadian friend before I jumped on here. Like I called him because I just needed to vent, and I know he's a good ear, and he's a very stoic man, and he knows how to deal with my craziness. But we determined at the end of the call there is no resolution right now because this is what happens when you're running a country that doesn't have a functional Senate. So remember, it happened under Nixon. Nixon did his shit to a point where the guys in the Senate just went, no, we're not having any more of this. You said a lie, and then you tried to hide the lie when you wouldn't release the tapes. Then the Supreme Court said you had to release the tapes, and it proved you to be an absolute fucking criminal and a liar. That's when Barry Goldwater assembled a delegation from Congress. They literally walked over to the White House, went up to the residence, met with Nixon. Goldwater leaned over the table and told Nixon very clearly, Mr. President, You no longer have the support of the Senate. Mr. President, you no longer have my support. If you don't leave office in the morning, you will be impeached by the end of the business day tomorrow. Thank you, Mr. President. Good night. Nixon resigned at noon the next day. The problem today is we're not even anywhere close to that. Even though the Senate knows Trump is lying. Did you see the Fox Business News with um, uh, the alkalite Bartiromo, Maria? She went on this big escapade of, let's call it bolstering for the effect. Well, this is Maria speaking. Well, we have plenty of energy allies around the world and plenty of friends. And I really doubt that Saudi Arabia is sending phenol to the United States. Senator Rand Paul looked at her angrily and went, well, according to our intelligence briefings, neither is Venezuela. So the Senate knows dear leader is lying. That's a fucking problem, people. Because unless Rand Paul is willing to get a delegation together, a la Goldwater, and he's not willing to frog march his own ass over to the White House, go upstairs, pour a scotch, look over the coffee table at Trump and go, you no longer have the Senate's support. We are no closer to getting out of this today than we were yesterday. And another aspect of, wow, this really starting to look, feel, and sound like communism. Moving on to my next topic, and this is going to be difficult for me because I'm upset again. I was upset yesterday. I know. I need to stop being upset. Some 90 Pride Proof Rye helps. The federal government is now executing U.S. citizens in the street. They executed Ms. Good in the street today in Minnesota. When I saw her picture, this was a blonde white chick. She could be a Weta, uh, Mexican Latino who has fair skin and blonde hair. My father-in-law's Mexican. He informed me years ago that they exist. I didn't know that. She could be a true blonde Latino, but she looks actually Caucasian to me. I don't know what her background is, whatever. But at appearances, ICE is now executing on site white woman with blonde hair because they happened to pull up to an incident where they were jerking off, trying to pretend they're doing cop work. So they just walked up and they fucking shot her in the face and executed her. The tape I saw was nothing short of murder. It was a criminal homicide. I'm thinking it wasn't voluntary manslaughter. It was murder too with malice. Because dear leader porn star Humper is a convicted felon, an adjudicated rapist, and a suspected suspected pedophile, and Goombas are running the world right now, we can send untrained assholes into the street to shoot blonde chicks in the face. Yes, they executed her. Yes. It wasn't murder, capital murder. It was murder too, with malice. Still murder, by the way. You're right. Murder. 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 To do what? To accomplish what? Because if they actually get what they want, a white ethno state, on the way to their white ethno state, our food supply collapses. Again, I worked in the most immigrant laden county in America, the lettuce bowl of fucking North America. Ukraine is the lettuce bowl of Europe. Monterey County, California is the lettuce bowl in North America. North America. White people are the managers. They're the ones in the polo and the slacks and the work boots driving the pickup trucks. They're not the ones picking the artichoke or the strawberries or the lettuce. Oh, by the way, all your chicken processing plants, all your beef processing plants, white boys, maybe one or two of them work there, but those aren't white boy jobs. Those aren't even college dropout jobs. So as they go against the Somali community, because some people in the Somali community committed a fraud, go ahead, deport all the Somalis. There goes your meat packing plant labor. There goes your restaurant labor. There goes your hotel labor. Can you import enough racist South Africanos to fill that gap? Maybe, maybe not. If they get halfway through their wet dream of a white Caucasian ethno state, you run out of food before they get there. I hope you like backyard vegetables that you grew yourself and pigeon. Well, I guess if you live in the woods or you live like I am, we have a shot at some turkey and some deer. Go a little farther out in the woods, maybe some pig. Okay, but you think you're going to Lucky's or Safeway or the Piggly Wiggly and getting food after they create their white ethno state? No, you're not. Because what are we going to do? Stick an AR-15 in the back of a white boy who didn't finish college and say, "You're now in the lettuce field." Sarah Tauber, Farm to Table, good podcast on ice and farming. I'm following a couple of thank you for that recommendation. I'm following a couple of farmers in rural gals. And by the way, I've been doing that for 20 years. Like I was following the Grange in Iowa and Indiana back in the early aughts when I was on Facebook. Because the deconstruction of rural America did not start under Trump. Don't make that misinterpretation. Trump is the world's biggest cunt right now. I understand that. Okay. But the deconstruction of rural America started in the 1990s. Started under Bill Clinton. Sorry. That's why I don't like Bubba. And I hate Hillbot. We have been deconstructing rural America for somebody else's profit for 30 years now. So the farm to table crowd, the Grange crowd, we don't worship Bill. Very good, ma'am. Very good. Very good. Nobody should be worshiping the corporate socialists. In the left right orthodoxy, there are corporate socialists in both parties. Like I said, I really starting to feel the last 2 capitalists we had was Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett. Like, I don't know what they want as an outcome from this, other than some weird, like, outcomes, like, d are they really looking for Lord of the Flies? So that's what it seems they're building for. Do they want a white ethno state? Well, a white ethno state means the maids, the valets, the meat cutters, the chicken feather pluckers, the lettuce pickers are also white. And when we had a labor crisis in farming 20 years ago, the farms actually advertised, and even Stephen Colbert got involved, went down to a farm and said, "Hey, there's jobs here, and they're good jobs. You make more money working on this farm with overtime than you would at a grocery store or a mechanic shop." Okay. One white boy showed up and quit by noon. And just for the record, yes, I worked on a farm before. I used to pick beans, green beans, for $3 a bushel in high school. Okay. So I know what farm labor is, at least at a basic level. Sure. I grew up in a farming town in New England, right across the street from a cow farm, a dairy farm, dairy farms all the way around us, corn, green beans, all sorts of root vegetables. Yeah. So we wanted to make an extra bunch of money so we can go to the arcade and we can go watch a Rocky Horror on the weekends. Yeah. We went down to the bean field. Every time we filled up a bushel, we got $3. You do 5 bushels, you got a night out. 5 bushels is about 5 hours worth of work. But I did 5 hours worth of work on Saturday, and I get to go out Saturday night with my friends, go hit Friendlies, have a burger, a fribble, some of the awesome friendly fries, the crinkle cut fries, have a beer in the parking lot, go watch Rocky Horror at midnight. Hey, man, that was a win for us. And I told you guys about the Nicaraguans when I worked as a city cop. Nicaraguans worked with horses, hard shit myself. Oh, yeah, horses are hard. I have friends who have horses and have a horse ranch. Horses aren't easy. What is easy? Goats. Goats are super simple. Horses, yeah, they take a whole bunch of care. No, they didn't, Michael. Shut the fuck up. Okay. Shut the fuck up. Right? I'm talking to you, asshole. Okay. I'm a cop. I'm an army soldier. I delivered deadly force personally. That was not a good shooting. You're a fucking touch hole. Fuck off. Why don't you change your profile picture and put your clan hood on? That would make more sense. I'm a fraud. You suck Nazi ball sacks. Fuck off, pal. If you think that was a good shooting, I guarantee you, if I did that in Army CID, or if I did that when I was working on the DEA task force in CID, and we executed a civilian like that, I would have been in the stockade that night, under armed guard by senior NCOs with locked and loaded 45s. I would have been under house arrest by my unit, or I'd have been under arrest by the military, police, and JAG if we'd have done that. Okay. You don't have any experience in law enforcement. Okay. That's obvious. Okay. I have 14 years on 2 continents. I have worked with the Polizei, Interpol, the Field Jaegers, the FBI, I was on a DEA task force for a year and a half. I've worked with the ATFs, the US Marshals, the IRS, the county sheriffs, the state police, and the CIA. So go fuck yourself. And I love these people who bounce into my shit and think they can bully me. The people I've been against up in my life, and you think you can bully me? Right there, pal. Walk away while you still can. You have absolutely no fucking idea who you're dealing with. None. I don't give a fuck about you, Michael. I literally do not give a fuck about you. Okay. My team chief in Army CID was one of the original tough boys under Colonel Tufts, who took down the khaki mafia after Vietnam. Dude, you ain't doing anything. Okay. You're a Nazi ball licker. Take Kyle Rittenhouse's balls out of your mouth. That's the best thing you can do for yourself right now. And if you think you can bully or intimidate me, really? Really? I've been up against terrorists in Europe, but you think you can bully me? I have 100 search warrants underneath my belt. I've been number one through the door a dozen times. I was an instructor in close quarter battle for the CID. What did you do? Lick Steve Bannon's balls? This is the same kind of douchebag who was on Facebook years ago. I would say that, hey, maybe we shouldn't sell guns to fucking stupid people or criminals or the mentally ill. You're anti-gun. Am I anti-gun though? That's my FBI model 1079 10 millimeter automatic. It's a 41 Magnum with the hand-loaded rounds I have in it. Okay. I was an expert with every weapon I picked up in the military and the paramilitary. Didn't matter if it was a machine gun, a sniper rifle, an SMG, a carbine. Didn't matter. I was an expert in everything. I was one of literally the fastest shooters in my academy. Who you trying to bully? Toast to you, buddy. Toast to you. You're funny. You make me laugh. If we would have done that, what happened today in Minnesota, I would have gone to Leavenworth Prison in Kansas. I have literally not pulled the trigger with people with a gun in their hand because it wasn't pointed at me. And I just tell them, you need to think through what you're doing. Because if you engage me, you will not make it through this. If we think we can roam through the streets and shoot U.S. citizens, they murdered a U.S. citizen today. This was not an immigrant. This was not a green card holder. This was a U.S. citizen they executed in the streets. Nobody should be okay with this. And I checked myself before I got online. Again, I called my Canadian officer buddy, somebody I seriously respect. He's more signal intelligence than cop work, but he's got military background. He's stoic. He's intelligent. We've worked a lot together over the last 20 years. Did you see what I saw on the TV or on the YouTube? Yes, I did. Was it lawful? No. Then my attorney buddy texted me earlier today. He was a cop with me back in the day. Did you see a lawful use of force in that video? He was a cop. Now he's an attorney. His opinion, not even close. Because what I saw was murder too. Just because a civilian ends up in your operational sector does not mean you get to shoot them. Hell, if I did that back in the day, there'd be a lot more body counts under my record, and they wouldn't be good. I mean, hell, we did a search warrant. The guys had stolen Army carbines. We hit the door, and the guy reaches underneath the couch pillow for his 45. Except the DEA and us, we jumped him, and he had 6 guns pointed at his head. And we're like, the only thing that comes out of that pillow better be your hand. We flip over the pillow, 45 caliber Smith & Wesson. We didn't shoot him. Because if he'd have brought that gun out from underneath the pillow, he'd have been shot so many times. We're not even calling an ambulance. Remember, the DEA is carrying fully automatic MP5s. They're going to dump 24 rounds into his face per clip. So you're telling me that this woman needed to die because she got caught up on the street where the ice happened to be? That's absurd. It's not just absurd, it's immoral. It's unethical. It's unprofessional. They didn't even allow a doctor at the scene to assist. I don't know about that, Hope. If you can post me a link, please let me know about that. I would love to follow it up because that's personal to me. One of my officer-involved shootings, a man with a gun in a restaurant, I had to torque him up with a 12 gauge. There was a nurse on scene, and she came out with her medical bag saying, "Can I assist?" And I was like, "As soon as we get into handcuffs, please start administering first aid." She was an RN from the local hospital. I actually knew her before that, but yeah, she came up with her metal bag, started tending to the wounds right there on the spot. Once you have the suspect disarmed and you have him handcuffed and you have any medical personnel from a paramedic or EMT all the way up to a surgeon, you get that assistance on scene and you start treating the suspect. He is a prisoner. The prisoner deserves human care. Once he's down and he is not combat ineffective, he is a prisoner with injuries and you must care for him. So they did not allow the doctor in that was on scene. That is a crime. I would never stop a medical professional once we have the gun secured. Yeah, can you post it on Substack and tag me, please, so I can follow up on it? I really want to know about that because that's a moral bridge I shall not cross. Okay. Yeah, I've been in situations we had suspects down and bleeding. Happened more than once. Okay. We never denied them medical care. And if they prevented a doctor from assisting after the scene was secure, that is so unethical and so immoral. I am not down with that. I'm not down with the shooting because there was no reason to shoot. Okay, this whole thing about shooting at vehicles, we try to get banned after the post 9/11 mania when they militarized all the local cops without a clue. Okay, now all of a sudden every local cop wants to shoot at a moving vehicle. Okay, a 9mm heavy load produces about at the barrel when the bullet leaves the barrel produces about 900 foot-pounds. A car driving at an average sedan, moving at about 60 miles an hour, produces 1 million foot-pounds. You're going to stop 1 million foot-pounds with 900 foot-pounds? Your math isn't good, and your physics suck. The only way I'm shooting at a vehicle if the occupants of the vehicle are shooting at me. And I'm not shooting at the car. Shooting at the car doesn't do anything. Okay? Unless you're shooting at the car with like a 50 caliber fucking Browning M2, it's not going to do anything. Okay? You're not going to disable the engine with a 9mm. Okay? If you're shooting at me and you're the driver of the car, I'm going to put 2 bullets through your forehead. I'm not going to spray and pray the car, hoping to stop the vehicle. Yeah, I saw that one. Hope, yeah, I saw the one in Chicago. And don't get me wrong, you come out of a door of a vehicle and you've got a gun in your hand. I'm going to tell you once to drop it. Then it's 2 in the chest, 1 in the head. Okay, but as far as I know from the shit in Minnesota, that woman did not have a gun. She produced no behavior that would justify deadly force. There is no way you get that shooting past any state investigative board. And not just, like Massachusetts or California. Georgia Bureau of Investigation, their master sergeant in charge of the shooting review board, just did a cop in Georgia for practically the same fucking thing. And he called it an egregious abuse and an unlawful use of force. Now, what we should be doing is we all should be lighting up the Senate in the House at Congress. We should be lighting up their phone lines and asking Democrat and Republican alike. And we should be recording the phone calls on our phone and then posting them on the social media. Can you tell me how many Americans you're going to execute in the street so you can build your ethno-state? So you can defeat the drug market? Because you idiots literally think you can shoot your way to the end of a market. Okay? This is what the joke is about well, because people get drugs from Venezuela. It's Americans sticking the drugs up their fucking nose. You're going to defeat a market by shooting a woman in a pickup truck or an SUV? You're a fucking idiot. No, because we're flooding the lines, but leave the voice messages, email, get on their social media pages. A lot of politicians are here on Blue Sky and on Substack. Okay, flood them and ask them how many U.S. citizens, not immigrants, how many U.S. citizens are you going to murder in the streets to execute your failed policy? Because it doesn't matter how many Americans you shoot, unless you plan on shooting every last one of us, you're not going to get rid of the cocaine market. And the reason you have fentanyl is because you declared war on all the other drugs. Our society was better off with moonshine and marijuana. When we're doing moonshine and marijuana, nobody was getting executed in the fucking streets. I've only had moonshine once, but holy shit. I was thinking about driving to Arizona to get some real moonshine because we can't buy the real stuff here. Moonshine and weed, that's a party over the weekend. It's gonna be rye and weed tonight, but yeah, all this shit is bullshit. If you think you can shoot your way, oh, did anybody see the video where they tracked one of the ICE agents downtown after the shooting of the girl in Minnesota? He's got an SS tattoo right here on his neck. Group of men surrounded him, called him a fucking Nazi asshole, and told him he better get the fuck out of their town. Well, you guys better back that shit up. You got SS tattoo wearing Nazis fucking executing people in the streets now under the auspices of law enforcement. And what gets me so worked up, we just got done correcting the local police who thought they were fucking Green Berets. I have 14 years experience in the Army and in civilian police work. I've never claimed I was a special operator. Doesn't mean I can't hurt you if you fuck up, but I'm not a special operator. We just told a bunch of fucking goons, proud babies, Kyle Rittenhouse blowjob artists, go into the street. We're going to train you for 4 weeks. Okay, which is a tiny fraction of the police academy, and we're going to let you out on the streets to go start shooting blonde white women in the streets because they accidentally ended up in your sector of operation. This is so fucking absurd. It's immoral, it's unethical, it's wrong. It's nothing to do with law enforcement. It has nothing to do with protecting America. This is animus and grievance set forth as a policy. And how it was done was on a whim. Do I have any answers for you tonight? No, I do not. Why? Because we have stupid morons like this idiot fucking yelling at me in the comments thread. We have too many people believing because they're too fucking stupid to catch up that this has nothing to do with America. This has nothing to do with solving crime. This has nothing to do with making our society safe. Because if you literally think, look, literally, we should call up Josh Hawley, call up Mike Grinder Johnson. The man was so many closets, so many skeletons in each one of those closets. We should be calling out, go, how many U.S. citizens are you going to murder in the streets to execute your policy that's going to fail anyways? And how long do you think you can do this before the next Timothy McVeigh shows up at a federal bomb with a U-Haul filled with kerosene and home heating oil? I'm sorry, that's the same thing. Kerosene, home heating oil, that's the same. Kerosene and gunpowder. Because if you think the real militia whack jobs in the background living out in the woods are down with the government executing US citizens, you would be wrong. Yes, they're more far right than Stephen Miller or Steve Bannon or Ross Vought. And they still hate the government. So we are 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 executions of US citizens in the middle of the street, and then the next Timothy McVeigh is going to pull up to the guard post at the Navy base in San Diego and detonate a truck bomb. Is going to show up, is going to crash through a fence at some DHS field office, and they're going to fucking detonate a truck bomb that's going to look like a fucking atomic weapon going off downtown. And you're doing this with an unqualified bunch of jerk offs. If you think anybody in ICE is qualified to do what they're doing right now, you would be seriously fucking wrong. If I had to deal with these clowns, I'd have my M16A2 on fully automatic, and I'd be willing to shoot anybody near me because I don't trust any of you fuckers. This is like my friends who were colleagues who were in Djibouti or Somalia. They're like, yeah, you're standing somewhere and you got to realize you may have to shoot every fucking person in sight because you don't know who's friendly and they're all fucking whacked out. We just put a Somalian grade warlord force into the streets of America, and now they're killing people. They're murdering, executing people on sight like they're fucking Eric Cartman, who didn't get enough respect for his authority. The place we're in right now is insane. It has nothing to do with the administration of justice. It has nothing to do with law enforcement. They're sending out Goombas because the sitting president of the United States is a racist xenophobe, and he's trying to use his racism as a curtain to his own criminality. That's the situation we're in right now. ICE will execute people in the streets. Hopefully, you'll forget that Dear Leader Pornstar Humper is a 30 plus count convicted felon. He's an adjudicated rapist in civil court. He's a suspected pedophile in the Epstein files. Murdering Miss Good while she sits in her SUV negates what? Negates his felony convictions? Negates the fact that he has to pay money to E. Jean Carroll because he raped her? Does it negate the fact that he's in the Epstein files 1,500 plus times? That's what they're hoping. That's how fucking stupid these guys are. They're literally hoping, oh, if I just shoot a few people in the street and go, oh, look at the crime wave. You know what our crime wave is here in my locale? Or it was a couple of years ago? It was the cops. Half of the sheriffs, their captains, and their undersheriffs were investigated, indicted, and most of them were sent to prison. We have had in like the circle of about 10 to 12 towns, we have had a dozen police chiefs fired for misconduct. We've had officers erected for being a drug mule, for rape, including statutory rape, rape of a minor, and voluntary homicide, voluntary manslaughter. Meanwhile, what does the crime stats tell us? Denver is the next city that just came down with their new crime stat. Crime is falling off the chart since the pandemic, falling off the chart since the 90s. We can't even compare it to the 70s. The 70s was a total fucking criminal shit show compared to the way it is now. America is actually getting more peaceful per capita, according to the statistics. What are we doing? Executing white chicks with blonde hair in the street for lethality, bro. So we give ourselves a window to seize the defense industry and put it under the auspices, control, and profit of Dear Leader Pornstar Humper. Just like Venezuela and Venezuelan oil. We are now being managed and governed as a society by an organized crime element. Now, it scares the shit out of me is I think Venezuela was just a temperature test. Can we send special operators in the United States and have them capture and kill people in the United States? They're just testing. This is a marketing test. Venezuela, they killed 100 people. going into Venezuela. But it's not a war. It's not a coup. It's not a regime change. So if they go to New York or California or Illinois and they kill 100 people, is it still not regime change, war, a coup, whatever? Start being worried about that. And I'm worried that several senior leaders in the military would be okay sending in troops to U.S. soil to murder civilians, to murder U.S. citizens. Just turn any political problem, any political grievance, or any crime into a military operation, send Delta Force in, and just start murdering civilians. That's not off the plate. That's not out of the realm of possibility in my mind today. If we're willing to attack Greenland, an ally, and I don't think most civilians understand how close of an ally the Danish are. They're a very close ally. Do you understand we have an Air Force base there? Do you understand we have special reserves in Greenland? Yes, we do. The Danish are our friends and our allies, and he's about to declare war against them. What limits him declaring war inside the United States? He's already told you. Caroline Leavitt stood in front of the goddamn cameras today and told the world that the Western Hemisphere now belongs to Donald Trump. The Western Hemisphere is now the United States, and we are in total control. Now, as the military goes around America executing American citizens on the behest of a criminal gang leader, this is going to get interesting. There are more guns in this country than people. There is a carbine or a long gun of some sort for every single adult in this country. You could literally arm every adult in this country with a long gun. Okay? You lost Afghanistan. You lost Syria. You lost Djibouti. You lost Somalia. You lost Mali. You lost Chad. You lost Libya. And you lost Iraq. How the fuck do you plan to win invading the United States of America? And again, how many U.S. citizens are you willing to murder to get that failure complete? Because this isn't policy. This is just whims. Whims of an aggrieved nationalist movement who hates everybody because we will not bow down them, empty our bank accounts, and hand it to them. I'll go back on the plantation. Oh, and if you think they just want the blacks back on the plantation, grow the fuck up. Okay? Because after they get the blacks on the plantation and they deport the Mexicans, they're going to make the Irish, the Greeks, and the Turks replace whoever they don't like. Why? Because that's exactly what happened under the Ku Klux Klan when they became a political party exactly 100 years ago. They went to the Midwest and became a political party, the Klan. Oh, we're not the White Knights of Mississippi. We're the other Klan. And what was their political platform? The Irish are not white. I'm Irish. The Italians are not white. The Greeks and the Turks are subhumans. You think this is about black people and Mexicans? Ha! You're an idiot. You've never read a fucking history book in your life. You don't have a fucking clue what's about to happen. Remember why this is happening. The sitting president of the United States is a goddamn criminal degenerate. Now the new Klan is assembling with a lot of other elements, neo-Nazis, pro-Russia shitheads, and they're literally trying to reform what they failed at doing in the Midwest in the 1920s. Having the Klan become the political base of America. Because I told you before, if you think Donald Trump has had one fucking original idea in his head his entire life, you'd be wrong. He's too fucking stupid. And he is stupid. I mean, stupid, stupid. Like below 86 IQ stupid. Like can't be indoctrinated into the military. He's too stupid. He's never had an original thought. He's just replaying old shit, and other people are putting old shit in his head and telling him, "Oh, this is the solution to everything." Uh, I'm gonna let you go, but I'm gonna finish with a couple of quick thoughts. Get on fucking juries, okay? So when this asshole Nazi twat who murdered somebody in the street, it's murder two with malice. Get on the goddamn jury so you can convict him and tell the judge to send him to prison for his entire life. Oh, and also when, a Marine who just got out of the service sees his wife being attacked by ICE agents who have no badges, no IDs, don't give a fuck, and they immediately start beating on his family, and he walks outside with an AR-15 and drops 12 of them, that's lawful use of force. Just because you have a badge and an ID card does not allow you to commit torture and murder in the streets. What, Rodney King doesn't ring any bells to you, you dumb motherfuckers? And that's what I'm afraid of. That's what I'll leave you with tonight. I worked the night of Rodney King. I thought the whole goddamn country was going to burn down. We are days away from Rodney King 2.0. And Rodney 2 King 0 won't be the minorities and the college students. It will be the white boys in the woods coming out. Now, Donald Trump knows this. The FBI knows this, da da da. But as soon as the violence starts, what are they going to do? It's all Antifa. It's all Black Lives Matter. But then it's going to be, oh, this is too much of a shit show to be confined to that. We're not playing on the hockey rink. We're playing in the whole town. When this unravels, stand by for Page. It's going to get ugly, and it's going to get ugly quick. Get on juries, protect trial juries. You have a good CV, a good resume, you're an academic, a businessman, former city leadership, something, get on grand juries. When they tried to indict somebody for lawfully resisting unlawful actions of ICE, make sure you're on the grand jury and you don't indict. That's already happening. Juries are standing up all over the country. Get on juries. Remember, we have to vote. The midterms is it. If we don't fix the country in the midterms, it's over. We're the United Soviet States of shithole if we lose the midterms. Vote. Be independent. Vote independent. Run for local office as an independent. And persevere. Perseverance was our 2025 word, remember? Perseverance squared is our term for 2026. Never give up, never surrender. Trump is trying to cancel the midterms, Connie says. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. That's why he wants all the voting registration data so they can start telling people they're not allowed to vote. That's why they want ICE agents at the polling places. And that's where the violence could really start. If ICE shows up with guns to polling places and the locals decide they don't want that, yeah, we're going to have a problem. And let me leave you with a movie recommendation. Civil War. Really, really, really recommend that movie because there's some realities in that movie. All law, all justice, all economy, all regularity, all commonality disappear the next morning after violence starts on a large scale in the United States. If you think a civil war will solve any problem, no, it will just destroy America. We get into a civil war, we hand China the 21st century. We hand Putin Europe. It'll be bad. But watch that movie just as a lesson of art, because often art predicts life. And my favorite scene in the Civil War is when the reporters, the press, stop at the gas station. They roll up in their SUV, their big Ford Excursion SUV. Hey, can we get some fuel? Do you have a local ration card? No, we don't. We're just passing through. Nah, I can't help you. Well, we're willing to pay. Well, I wasn't going to give it to you for free. The reporter says to the guy guarding the gas station, I'll give you 300. He goes, 300? Talking US dollars in the crisis. 300 gets you a sandwich. We have ham or we have cheese. Which one do you want? She plays it cool. She just looks at him and goes, no, 300 Canadian. Yeah, okay, we're good. I took a lesson from that movie. My wife and I are going to buy foreign currency and keep it in hand in case we have to flee. We're going to buy 2 tranches of Canadian dollars and euros. Because if it does go to shit, your US dollar will be worthless. If you don't have silver or gold or platinum or a foreign currency, you'll have nothing. So yeah, go back and watch Civil War with Kirsten Dunst. She was awesome. Her husband was in it. He was a total psychopath, but he was awesome. Um, America has a last stand, and it's coming up. It's the midterms. Be aware of that. Work toward an alternative for the better. And the only way we can do that is not just ourselves voting, but our encouraging everybody to vote. We can't have another 2022 turnout with 42% turnout. That's not going to work. That will be the end of America. And that's the goal of this regime, to end what America is and turn it into some communist gangster shit show. Vote. Be independent. Vote independent. Run for office as an independent. Persevere. Okay. We'll get back with you guys tomorrow, the next day. Canadian dollars and euros. Yep. We're gonna do 2 tranches, eventually getting $5,000 equivalent, US dollars equivalent in both, in case we have to bust a move. Which breaks my heart. As I described before in my live sessions, I always consider myself quite an American patriot. So it breaks my heart to have to buy foreign currency and have a exit plan, because idiotic authoritarians who are amalgamating every shit show of the 20th century, whether it's Nazism, Stasiism, communism, gangsterism, fucktardedness, whatever. They're doing it all. So yeah, be prepared. Put on the helmet. Be prepared. Okay. All right. I'll talk to you again real soon. Take care. Take a deep breath. Persevere. Be back at you soon. Peace.